Good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 22 of the Monday Morning Mama Show. I'm so glad to have you here this morning. I'm going to take just a minute. I want to welcome everybody that's on the replay because I know it'll take just a second to reach you guys. And I also want to take a minute and be sure to share in my community, which is the Spiritual Mom, and also in my guest community, which is Spiritual Goddesses. Lots of spirituality going on this morning, sharing in lots of places. So really excited to have you here today. Let me see, spiritual, there you are. And we are all set with the sharing. I'm so glad to have you guys here today. As you know, we are in the middle of a fantastic series right now where we've been going through different ways to reduce stress through the holiday season. And really excited about today's episode because EFT has been such a huge part of my life. So let's get the formalities out of the way. Welcome to Monday Morning Mama, where we bring you fresh and fun inspiration every Monday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time. This morning, we're on episode 22, as I said, of the Monday Morning Mama Show. And we are talking about EFT as a tool to reduce stress in the holiday season. I am your hostess, Jessica Dugas. I am a mentor of moms in the Moms Online Mastermind community, helping you to reduce stress and overwhelm in your life and help you discover a balance that truly works for you. Joining me today has been my friend and mentor since 2015. I love her to pieces. She's my sister from Canada, and love her to have her here. She is not only a counselor, but she is a goddess mentor and leader. And I love everything that she brings to the table, from astrology to counseling to EFT, all the good things, and she's going to talk to us about EFT today. So please give a warm welcome to my friend Kara Melendi.
Thank you for having me on, Jessica. Thank you for that. It's true, we met in 2015 now. Holy, yes. Oh my goodness. Thanks to Facebook, right?
Yeah. It was a Facebook Fun Friday. That's where we had met through one of those posts where you post your page. Yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah, so great to be here. And I love this topic of stress during the holiday season, because I think a lot of us kind of automatically shift into like that stress mode when we know it's coming, or we feel pressured, like I don't have enough done yet. And especially if we're like highly sensitive, we can really get kind of caught up in the chaos of it all. And it can affect us internally too, and even our health during that time. So yeah, I'm happy to talk about EFT today, because it's my go-to in dealing with stress. And I see it help so many other people because it really has the power to shift your energy quickly. Like, as you know, you can experience the shifts like right away. This doesn't even need to be a delayed thing. Like you can experience the difference immediately.
Absolutely. And let's talk about, just for a minute, as you mentioned, our stress levels automatically seem to go up in the holiday season. And as I've talked about on previous episodes, it's not, stress doesn't always have to be this negative thing. Stress can be caused from anything that's positive. So even, the thought of putting up and taking down your holiday decorations, even the thought of imagining your floor covered in wrapping paper on Christmas morning, whatever it is, it doesn't always have to be a bad thing, but it still increases your stress level. And then when you're dealing with the negative things on top of the positive things, perhaps you had, a death of a family member near the holiday time, or perhaps, you're struggling financially during the holiday season, whatever it is, all of these stressors, both positive and negative, are adding up. And so and you also mentioned, about the physical things that it can do. I don't think it's a coincidence that this is flu season or any, the time when we tend to get more sick, because our stress levels are higher.
Yeah.
So it's been really important to me to share these different tools with you guys so that we could be a little bit more prepared during the holiday season. So let's jump right in and let's talk. Kara, can you give us just an overview? What exactly is EFT and what does EFT stand for?
Sure. So it stands for the Emotional Freedom Technique, and it's commonly referred to as tapping. Sometimes people say, I've never heard of EFT, then I say tapping. They're like, oh, I've heard of tapping. So it's commonly referred to as that as well, because, and what you're doing is literally tapping different acupressure points in your body in a specific sequence that is shown to shut off that fight, flight, or freeze response, which is responsible for us going into that overdrive, chaotic state. And when that happens, we don't have enough like blood flow to our brain. So we're not thinking clearly. It is harder to make decisions. And that's the last thing we want in a holiday season or any time, right? Where we want to be like on top of it and enjoying it. So EFT helps to shut that response off. And it also sends a message to the amygdala, that part of the brain that governs the fear response. So it sends a message that it's okay, you can relax, it's safe, you're not in physical danger. Because that, honestly, like in our culture, there's so many things that can trigger that fight, flight, or freeze response to go off when physically we're not in like a life or death situation. So we don't need that extra adrenaline pumping, right? We don't need that. So anything that can send that sign to the body that we can relax and we can stay calm is really helpful. And yeah, EFT is great for that. So you're literally using your fingertips to activate these acupressure points and tapping on them in a specific sequence. And yeah, you feel that shift happen immediately.
Yes, and as we talked about, if you guys tuned in last week, I had my guest Donna Smith Brown here, who I love, and we were talking about Reiki. And yes, we talked about in that episode how we met through you, and so you were talked about in last week's episode too. We were talking about Reiki last week, and it's a lot of the same concept as well. It's dealing with those energy points throughout your body and that ki or chi or life force energy. And it really can be tapping. I first started when I was working with Kara a couple years ago, and for me, like I've had issues with anxiety my entire life, and I can feel that for moments where things shouldn't be causing that fight or flight, where I feel like my whole body tense up and it's a scary thing. And so the tapping has made it possible for me not to freak out about things anymore. Anytime where I recognize that my body's about to go into that space that was not good for me, I immediately go, okay, well, it's time to tap this out. And so what are some of the different things that you've seen tapping used for?
Yeah, oh my goodness, it's used for a lot of different things. So truly, because it's powerful, and like you said, with the anxiety, it's really good for anxiety or stress. And initially, I believe it was developed in response to PTSD, right, which is a form of anxiety, and it's really good for dealing with trauma, because often what happens when we go back and look at a traumatic situation, whether it was a loss, an experience that happened to us that really shook us. We have to be careful we don't get back into that state of trauma, because our body, like with PTSD, right, we actually get confused and we feel like we're back there, even though we may be safe in our current situation. So it's hard to go back and look at those things. And what EFT does is you can go back, you can examine the situation while tapping and moving the energy, so you're not getting stuck there. And in fact, you're changing the association to that situation. So you're really bringing about healing. So really good for PTSD, and of course really good for anxiety, because it is working to shut off that fear response in your body.
Mm.
Something I've noticed just through, the women that I've worked with and doing EFT with them, I've had quite a few people say now that it really helps bring them back into the moment, because when they're tapping, they're really focused on what they're saying, on how they're feeling. So I think it's really good for grounding as well. And I love the connection that it makes to your body. It really, bringing you back into your body and grounding, which is so key when you're talking about anxiety, because anxiety is up here. So if you can bring it back down, you can feel more grounded and present, then you really can experience that shift. And it's also good for any limiting beliefs or old patterns that it's time to release. And that's where I bring it in terms of like manifestation, or in helping people attract soulmate clients, because it really can shift some of the limiting beliefs that you have around that, like I'm not worthy, or fear around being visible, or just not having the clarity around who the client is. Like, you can use tapping for all that as well. So basically it can be used for a range of things, even including pain. Often people use it for physical pain they're experiencing as well, because and what it does, as far as I know and what I've like researched when it comes to pain and the association, is it helps you detach from the story around it. Because of course, anytime we're in pain, there's a very strong emotional connection too. And our mind automatically creates a story around what it represents. We can work ourselves up, and EFT helps us detach from that. And suddenly we start to feel the pain shift, and we don't experience it in the same way. So basically it can be used for a ton of different things. Really powerful.
Yes. And it's funny because when you talk about the pain part of it, I remember back when I was first learning about EFT, and I had a headache, and I can't remember if it was you or someone else that suggested, tapping for it. And I'm thinking to myself, I am not going to tap on my head when my head is the one that's hurting. I'm not going to do that. And so I just thought it was the most ridiculous thing. And guess what I do for headaches now? I tap. And for me, that makes a lot of sense, what you're talking about with associating it with different things. So when I rarely get headaches, but when I do, they're very powerful, like migraine style headaches. And it can be really frustrating because it'll take me down for hours, and that's hours I'll lose of work, or hours I'll lose with the kids. And so there really is that emotional attachment of, when is this going to end? And why does this always happen? And I'm missing out on things. And so I think I did, it's taken a period of time for it to really work for me for pain things, because I had to learn different tapping points as well. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. But I had a headache, I think about a week and a half ago. And I felt it coming on. I knew that it was coming, and it was going to be one of these ones that was going to take me out. And I thought, nope, we're not doing this. So I took 5 minutes and did my tapping, and really got down into it this time and said, okay, how am I really feeling about this? And this was the first time, like, I didn't even have to lay down, didn't even have to anything. It was gone in about 10 minutes time. And so I was, anytime you can do something like that, and you don't have to miss out on things, and you don't have to take medication maybe that you're not comfortable taking, that's an amazing thing right there. And I also do want to point out that anything that we're talking about today, if you have any medical conditions, please go see your doctor. Don't tap through something that you need to see a doctor for by any means.
100%.
Yeah, but it's an amazing tool to have for stress, for pain, for anything that Kara's talking about as well. So I want to talk for a minute about what the process of EFT looks like. So how do we start off? What do we do in the beginning? We start with something called setup statements. What is that? What's the purpose of that?
Sure. Yeah. So the setup statement is basically just really sinking into the energy of what you want to clear. So it's basically, and I've modified this and I've really made it my own, but initially there's kind of a format, as you probably know. I just do my own thing with it. But basically, it's setting up for what you want to tap, what you want to clear, really helping you sink into the feeling. And that's what sometimes I'll keep going. The setup statement is that you can completely bypass that. If you're already in the feeling, you can go right into the main points and start to tap. But basically, you usually repeat the statement about 3 times. You say what you're experiencing. So it could be, even though I'm stressed and overwhelmed, I love, accept, and forgive myself. That's kind of the format that you would use. And you could repeat that 3 times, or you could kind of modify. And what I started doing is really stating where you are and then also where you want to go. So even though I'm feeling stressed, anxious, and overwhelmed, I love, accept, forgive myself. And in this moment, I'm choosing to access the energy of peace and calmness. I find that works really well for people too. Just knowing that, okay, this is where I am, but this is where I want to be. So it's not, and that's the thing with EFT, it's not like you're bypassing your feelings. You're actually tapping into them. You're not denying that I might be angry, I'm sad, because that doesn't work, right? So we're tapping into it, but we're also shifting it. So you want to sink into the feeling, but then change it, right? You also want to affirm where you want to be. And the setup statement's always done while tapping the karate chop point. So you're tapping while you're repeating the statement.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think it's important. What you said there about being able to change up the statements is really, really important. As I talked about this morning during Monday morning meditation, there are so many preconceived notions about things like any holistic or alternative processes, whether we're talking about Reiki or EFT or meditation or anything like that. Whatever you know about those things, throw it out the window and simply embrace what works for you, what's really going to help you. Don't let what other people are doing or what you think you know or you think you've seen hold you back from trying it, because it really is about making it into what works for you and keeping it simple too. One of the things that I've heard about EFT is from people is that, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say during the EFT. So what would you say to somebody like that?
Don't get caught up in the right or wrong of it, right? No, throw that out. You can't do it wrong. I mean, honestly, you could say the same thing and just tap and you'll feel the shift, because the points alone are going to shift it. I also think there's power in words. I feel that's a big part of the EFT I use, is being careful about the wording that comes through, and, being open and really tapping into the energy field of the person I'm working with to see what they need, the wording that they need, all that stuff. But don't get caught up in that or allow that to stop you. Simply trust what comes up for you. It can be an exercise in accessing your intuition and trusting yourself, right? Just trusting what to say. But again, it could be like tapping, saying, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I'm anxious, I'm choosing to feel calm. It can be very simple. And the main thing is switching your mindset around it and getting out of that preconceived notion that it has to look a certain way. Because again, honestly, like I've changed. I don't work with scripts when I do EFT, and I know some people may, and there's not a right or wrong. But for me, I really like to feel into the energy of it, and even draw on some of my other techniques, like my trainings in the Akashic Records, being open to kind of channeling when I do the tapping now. Working with the chakra system, so allowing people to tap into that. So you can really make this your own. Make it your own, basically. And don't get caught up if you're, whatever, you can't do it wrong, right? If you're working on yourself with the intention of you want to clear this, you want to be in a more relaxed state, that intention alone has great power to shift your experience.
And like you said, with the different points as well, you can say, you don't even have to do it in this format that we see EFT done. Our past guest, Lori Ann Davis, that I know you love Lori as well. She does a lot of things in her community, same as I do, where we'll just do positive affirmations on the different points. And even that can be beneficial. And then, so I want to take a minute and briefly talk about the different points. So I have seen points done so many different ways by so many different people. And that was one thing that held me up as well. I felt like in the beginning, I was like, I'm not going to remember. I'm lucky I know what all my kids' names are today. Like, I'm not going to remember all these different points that I'm supposed to go to. And so I think it's important to remember as far as that goes as well. There's no EFT police. You're not going to, you're not going to miss out on some big healing because you simply, forgot a point or whatever that is. So I know the points that you use. If you can quickly just show those and then maybe tell us, just a statement about it, why you use those points or how you came to use those points.
Yeah, well, I use a lot of the traditional ones that are used within tapping while adding my own, because like you said, there's definitely variations around what people use. So I always start off with the karate chop, and that's pretty standard for like the setup statement. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it can vary a little bit. So after that, I start with the eyebrow points. So just in the corner of the eyebrows and tapping there. I like doing the face points because we have a ton of acupressure points on our face. And from there, I go into the end of the eye, or it's kind of just on the bone and tapping there. Mm-hmm. And then under the eye. And these are the ones too, like I found just work for me. Like I feel the difference, and it seems other people do as well. So I'll use those unless someone says like I have pain in this part of my body, or if you feel uncomfortable doing a certain point, then don't, because it's probably a reason for that and it's not going to work for you. And while you want to press hard enough on the acupressure points to activate them, you never want to be in pain. So
please don't hurt yourself.
Tapping. So if it feels like, sometimes it's tender because it actually is congested, and tapping is going to shift the energy. Right. That's where it's knowing your body and knowing, is this going to cause more pain and my body's really rejecting it? Or is it because I need to clear the energy? So the eyebrow, side of the eye, under the nose, on the chin, the collarbone point, I love. So just following the collarbone and then kind of dipping. These points are usually tender on people. Mm-hmm. This one really activates your energy. Like after we go through the points, I can show you kind of like a shortcut that you can do too, and be energized. But I really like this point here. I find that one works really well, and it does help increase your energy. If you're feeling low energy, simply tapping there will make a difference. And then under the arm, which is just, I know it's hard to see, it's just along the bra line, really. Make it easier for women to find. And just tapping there, that can be another point that's quite tender as well. And that's often, again, because these points can get congested. So tapping them can help move the energy. And then I've added the wrist point, and this one is one that's bypassed a lot. Yeah, so just on the wrist, and then I just tap my wrist together, because personally, this one wasn't initially taught to me when I was learning it, but I had seen another EFT practitioner use that point, and I thought, wow, like I actually really noticed a difference in my own body in using that, so I'm going to add that in. So that's one you don't always see people use. Mm-hmm. And then the top of the head. The top of the head's important because there's so many different acupressure points there. You can really just kind of tap around, and you're going to be activating those points.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite. I think the top of the head is a favorite one to me. I don't know, scientifically why that one works really well for me, but I know, and we've talked about this in other episodes and in our Sun Sign Spotlight as well. I am all up in the Aquarius, and so I have a really hard time being grounded. And I feel like this is almost like pushing me back down, almost like it's like, I don't know. It's a ground, and it's interesting to me because this is the area of the crown chakra, not the root chakra, but I feel like it's pulling it down. It's an interesting thing. And like Kara said, there's different points, there's no wrong way to do things. When I had a lot of dental work done, I couldn't do these ones in my face. There was no way. And so I really had to go to other points. And then the other one for me, the under the arm one, has been difficult. I have really short arms, and so I have a hard time getting there. And so I've decided just to kind of bypass that, and I will just go right to the wrist And then the other ones that I like using sometimes are the points on the fingers, which is right at that bone. Sometimes that's a great one if you're out and about in public and you want to do some tapping and you don't want to be like this in the middle of the grocery store. Whatever it is, you can do those points, on your fingers pretty discreetly, and no one knows what you're doing. And those are ones that I've taught to my kids as well. When they're feeling anxious, if we're out and about, or, even if we have company or friends over or whatever the situation is, they can use those points and feel good about it and not feel like they're sticking out like a sore thumb, in the middle of everything.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, because those ones, and I don't use those ones. I know some people like teach that a lot, and I agree, like perfect for situations, right? If you don't want people to see you tapping and you still want those effects, right. It's just usually on like the edge of the nail, almost on the nail, I believe, and you can tap. Yeah, Cause some people use. I've seen teachers just kind of focus on those points. So it's everybody has their own way of doing it. But yeah, that one's great because of course you don't always feel comfortable tapping if you're out in public or around other people. But it's funny, I'm so used to like tapping now. I'd say like I caught myself kind of like in company kind of like tapping because this is actually what on your chest, this is when I'll tap a lot. And that's and not even with the EFT sequence. That's when I kind of use just for energy. If I feel like a cold coming on or congestion, that point feels really good for my body. And that's not traditionally part of the EFT, but there are acupressure points there that are really good for tapping. So I do that one a lot. Like I find that like my body just responds well to it. And same with the collarbone one. Like those are ones for me. Yeah.
I love that. And I feel like that could, even in that area, that could really break up any stuckness that you feel around your heart chakra as well, because it's in that area. I feel like that could be a good way to kind of get that and get that rolling as well. So lots of good points. We've got just a few minutes left. If you want to just show just one round, then we can do that. And then I'll give you an opportunity to tell everybody where they can hook up with you as well.
Awesome. Yeah. Sounds good. Well, do you want to do one like based on stress? Just do a round? Yeah. Okay, cool. So everybody join if you're listening to the replay too. So just close your eyes first and we'll take a couple deep breaths. So breathing in through your nose. And exhale. And breathing in. And exhale. And notice how you're feeling in this moment, checking in with yourself. And noticing your current level of stress or overwhelm on a scale of 1 to 10. So 1, you're nice and calm, to 10, feeling stressed and overwhelmed. And notice where you fall on that spectrum. And don't judge it, just simply notice what number pops up first. And take a deep breath in. And exhale. And opening your eyes. So we'll go to that karate chop point for setup statements. Even though I'm feeling a little stressed and overwhelmed.
Even though I'm feeling a little stressed and overwhelmed.
I love, accept, and forgive myself.
I love, accept, and forgive myself.
Thinking of the holiday season triggers some stress.
Thinking of the holiday season triggers some stress.
But I'm choosing to stay in a place of peace and calmness.
But I'm choosing to stay in a place of peace and calmness.
To be calm and productive.
To be calm and productive.
Even though I'm feeling a little stressed and overwhelmed.
Even though I'm feeling a little stressed and overwhelmed.
In this moment, I choose to release these feelings.
In this moment, I choose to release these feelings.
And tap into my inner peace.
And tap into my inner peace.
And take a deep breath. And release. And go into the eyebrow point. This feeling of stress.
This feeling of stress.
This feeling of overwhelm.
This feeling of overwhelm.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my body.
And I notice it in my thoughts.
And I notice it in my thoughts.
But what if I could release it?
But what if I could release it?
What if I could let some of this stress go?
What if I could let some of this stress go?
What if I could tap into a feeling of calmness?
What if I could tap into a feeling of calmness?
A feeling of peace.
A feeling of peace.
I'm choosing to release the stress now.
I'm choosing to release this stress now.
Releasing it on a cellular level.
Releasing it on a cellular level.
It is safe to let go of this feeling of stress.
It's safe to let go of this feeling of stress.
It's safe for me to feel peaceful.
It's safe for me to feel peaceful.
For me to feel calm.
For me to feel calm.
I'm choosing to be in the energy of peace.
I'm choosing to be in the energy of peace.
Choosing to be in the energy of calmness.
I'm choosing to be in the energy of calmness.
And keep this feeling throughout the holiday season.
And keep this feeling throughout the holiday season.
I'm going to enjoy the holiday season.
I'm going to enjoy the holiday season.
And even though things can get busy,
And even though things can get busy,
I'm going to stay in a place of peace.
I'm going to stay in a place of peace.
All right, and take a deep breath. And exhale. Notice how you're feeling now. So that was just 2 rounds of EFT. Let's see if you're noticing the shift. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how stressed are you now? So 1, not at all, to 10, stressed and overwhelmed. And simply notice if that number shifted at all, or if you feel your body any differently. Maybe the energy has shifted in your body. And take a deep breath in. And exhale. And opening your eyes when you're ready. So I hope your viewers enjoyed that sample. And of course, usually when we're doing sessions, as you know, in our groups and stuff, we do tapping for probably like 30 minutes, sometimes more, sometimes up to an hour. So you really start to notice the shifts. But yeah, you can feel it right away after a couple rounds as well.
Yes, absolutely. And it's important, guys, like anything else, like any of these other practices that we've talked about, again, whether it's meditation or Reiki or EFT or, anything like this that's alternative, there are moments when it can bring up other things for you and things can come to the surface, and they're not coming to the surface because that's a bad thing. It's coming to the surface because it's time for you to clear those things. And it can be, it can turn from one thing into a truly healing experience. And that's one of the things that I really, really love about EFT. I remember at first it was like, well, why is this stuff coming up? But it's because it's time for you to clear it. And it's important for you to do that as part of your self-care. And so that you mamas can take care of your family, your spouses, your children, your home, everything that you need to do, all those hats that you wear. So thank you so much, Kara, for sharing about that today. If you want to take a moment and let everybody know what you have going on, where they can connect with you.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I just opened the doors to the Spiritual Goddesses Mastermind. I'm really excited about that because that program's near and dear to me because it combines everything I love. It combines energetic clearings, it combines astrology and client attraction training. So basically it's for healers and light workers who are looking to reach more people with their message, as well as clear out old programming and limiting beliefs. So that's Spiritual Goddesses. If people want to look it up, I don't know if I can share the link with you, Jessica, or you can look it up online, spiritualgoddessesmastermind.com. Or you can reach me on Facebook. Feel free just to pop me a message. And I also have an online Facebook group called Spiritual Goddesses Healing the World Together. Beautiful community. So if you enjoyed the tapping today, we do a lot of tapping in that space, as well as meditations and trainings around manifestation.
Awesome. And I have done, I was in the very first graduating class of Kara's Spiritual Goddesses Mastermind. And it really not only was such a big deal for me personally, but it helped my business on so many different levels. And, the EFT has been a big part of that. And I've also worked with Kara just doing the EFT and other things, and her community is amazing as well. It's a space where truly, if you're feeling like you don't fit in anywhere else, then it's a great place for you to be, especially like she mentioned, if you are a healer or a light worker or, any kind of, business where you're serving other people, it's a great place to kind of fill up your cup. And so I really appreciate a space like that on Facebook as well.
Thank you. It is a space to come together. It's a very loving, accepting place. People feel really safe there and make beautiful connections because everyone in there is really all about supporting, uplifting one another. Yeah. And when I say light worker, that can take different forms. Anyone willing to who's ready to bring light into the world, share love in the world, and really feels they're here to make the world a better place. In my eyes, anyway, that's how I classify a light worker.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because I saw somebody that was new in the community, I think last week, that said she wasn't sure she was a light worker because she was just a hairdresser or whatever it was that she says. And my grandmother was as well. And so I feel like she was a light worker in her own space as well. If you're here to bring love and light and peace to this world, and you know that that's your mission, no matter what it is that you do, then you're a light worker in our opinion. So.
Absolutely. It's more of a feeling and a sense of purpose than the label on your work or business. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also as well, you guys know you can reach me at momclub.online, where you can find out more about the spiritual mom community. And we do a lot of tapping in there as well, and meditations. You guys know that. And so I would love to have you part of that community. And we always do the Monday Morning Mama After Show, which is a little bit more of you just get more. If you want more, you get more. And that's what you get in the community. And we have some great things going on there right now. As I mentioned, we are in that community going through the chakra system, 1 chakra per month. And we're doing solar plexus chakra right now, which is all about your personal power and your self-esteem and your confidence. And so, it can be a better time to go into the holiday season feeling great about where you are and who you are, and help you keep those stress levels down and feel centered. And it's been a great experience in there as well. So again, you can find that at momclub.online, or always just send me a message on Facebook and I will hook you up with that as well. So thank you again, Kara, for joining us today. Always good to talk to you, and we'll be meeting up again soon for Sun Sign Spotlight going into where does the time go? I just can't. The year has flown by. What are we talking about next? We're talking Scorpio, right?
Scorpio's up. I can't wait. Yeah, Scorpio, right? Because a lot of cool things happening with Jupiter and Scorpio too. So I'm excited for the spotlight. Lots of Scorpio energy.
Awesome. All right, ladies. Thank you so much to everybody that joined us today. I know I saw Jess Neary and Amanda Mounts. I saw you guys pop in. So hello. And we'll, of course, if anybody's left comments, we'll go back and talk to you guys as well. So I hope everybody has a fantastic day. And until next time, this has been Jessica Dugas on the Monday Morning Mama Show, helping to reduce stress in the world, one mom at a time. Have a fantastic day, everybody.